Good morning and sliding in the afternoon. Whoop whoop. I really slid in just by the nick of time. Better than I did on Wednesday, but that's all right. It's all good and fun, right? To be here and be able to do what we see we're going to do today, right? So we got the fall. We've got so much going on this time of year, right? Once school, back to school goes in, just everything seems to be happening. Everything from fall decor to Halloween and prepping over Halloween, Christmas, right? Thanksgiving, just a lot of different things going on. So today I'm taking items from the kit and I'm going to show you how we're just going to layer them to give our own 3D effect, just like they had in one of the cards in the kit, and I'll show that to you too. We're also going to use the technique swiping, and we're also going to use chalking technique, as well as I've already done some fussy cutting and all, but it's all about, how do we create our own 3D effect, right? So let's go down the hands and let's do this, because this is our first alternative to this month's paper pumpkin kit, Farmhouse Florals, right? I was trying to think if I've ever been to a farmhouse, so it's been a long time. Might need to do that again. All right, let's go down the hands and let's do this. All right, it's a nice day. We're supposed to get cooler weather, hopefully over the weekend. It might drop 10 degrees. Yay, that'd be nice. So this is what Zoe and Nana created last weekend when we got together. And as you can see, this is a 3D effect. Let's see that right there. Right, so we literally took cover here, what was already here, and you just put the image right above it. And same thing with the flowers. We took the flowers and put them right above images were already printed on here to get a 3D effect. So we're going to create our own today. And if you look at this almost looks like a swipe technique. It's not, but it is. So what we're going to focus on today is, I'm going to put these aside for later, is this right here. We're going to focus on this. We're going to create our own, all right? And when I talk with swipe technique, literally, we're going to take an ink spot and we're going to swipe across it, okay? And this is just going to give it a little bit more country look, right? And I'm actually going to take me a swallow right here because I'm thirsty. I should have brought some water. Didn't give me water. Okay, so let's do the swiping. Can't believe I did that on live, but anyway. My take you'll get after me later. And if this looks different to you, just let me know. I had a time getting the camera where it didn't look like it was angled or something. All right, so all we're going to do is take this ink spot. And this is actually, the color I'm using is Pecan Pie. And Zoe and I have used this technique before. And we're just going to swipe. And, if you don't like it, then what you do is just come back over, okay? So we're just going to come and swipe. And I want to keep on going, so it's like, let me keep on here because I'm looking for a spot. It does dry quickly, but I don't want to test it at the moment. I got on a white shirt, right? Okay, now I want it a little bit heavier on the bottom, right? So all I'm going to do is take it here. I'm going to try to see if I can take it from the side here. So ooh, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. If you went out and dealt with any kind of wood of anything, right, it's going to have its own technique based on the wood. So I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. And see how we just get a different look? We actually did this one time on one of our kits. Not kits, when we did one of our clubs, we sat there and did it. And we sat there and did it across a cover, a book cover. It made it look like leather afterwards. So you can do this as heavy or as light as you want, right? Just depends on what kind of effect you want to get. So let's look at how it's going to look like right here. So this is going to be right here. You see, it just gives it that whole like rustic farmhouse look, right? Reminds me of what you see in the movies, right? And so forth and all. Now, like I said, if we wanted to, we could do it more if we wanted to. But I'm okay. It might just make it a little bit darker here at the bottom. And we're just going to see if I can take it just like right down the middle. And I can go edge to edge, just to get it a little maybe darker. So see, you can just variate it however you want. But when we did this on some book covers that we did for our club kit, when Zoe and I did it, made it look like leather, right? So you just let it dry. You can see it's almost dry. It's just because I've saturated the paper a little bit there, right? Okay, so while it's drying, let me see if we want it any darker or not. Let's leave it there. Yes, and if you're out there, just leave a comment, right? Okay, so we're going to also chalk the edges of this. And again, it's just going to give it a little bit rustic. So if you look at the inside of this right here, see how it's almost looks like what the artist did when they did this, right? Just came and touched around the edges. We're going to do the same thing, depending on who you're talking to, whatever, right? We all come up on different things. So try to see if I can see and get in the mirror for you. So, not the mirror, camera. But anyway, it's, some people call it chalking. You might call it something else, but we're just come around the edges, right? And we're just, and if you want, you can let it swipe a little bit across the edges too. But I would start first, however you're comfortable with, all right? Because that way, right, if you do what you're comfortable with, you don't overdo. And then when you get through, then just add a little bit more. So that's what we're doing here. I'm just coming along this, and then I'm going to most likely come back and come, because they've already got the frayed, right? They've already got the frayed look here by distressing the edges. You can see as this really picks up the distressed edges a lot easier. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Now I'm just going to, this time I'm just going to lean in just a little bit more, so it come maybe a little swipe across the top of there, a little bit of color. See how that did that right there? So it's just however much or little you want. It just gives it its own unique look with that distress, right? I like doing that with distress, right? Just something fun you can do with distress. All right, so now we're going to sit there and we're just going to put this on here. Now see how that is? Now it depends if that's light enough for you, if you want it darker. So I'm thinking I still want this at the bottom. Let's see if I can get this bottom. I don't mind the direct trench. I just want to get this one maybe just a little bit darker. And you got to be careful, right? Because if you get paper too saturated, it'll start rolling and peeling if you've never done that. Especially like if you talk about cardstock, just regular cardstock. So if you get it too saturated, right, it's going to like peel. The paper's going to peel and roll. I don't know how to scrub it. That's what it'll do. So we don't want to do that, right? So you got to let it really dry good first. Because you notice we don't have any peeling. We're just getting it darker. And as soon as this dries, I'm just going to do just one more swipe. So you get your color and look that you already want, right? Sort of the whole variegated look there. But so you can just come and darken it. You're still going to have the original. I'm just adding a little bit more color to it. Is all I've done. All right? So that's just what we do with swiping. And it looks like you've created your own designer series paper. And I'm going to let that dry just a little bit more. Now, I did already start fussy cutting because we are fussy cutting to get this layered look. So this is what I've already cut out. Let's see, where's my scissors? Honestly, I don't have to use my nails, right? I got something that's already going to do this. So I'm just going to clip that just a little bit there. Okay, so what we're looking for, is it dry now? And if you're not sure, I can show you. See, it's not coming off of my fingers, and it's not coming off the paper. Usually dries quickly. When you put a lot of ink on there, it's going to let it a little bit. All right, so it's basically going to give us this look right here, right? But we're going to separate this, okay? Now we can leave the brown on the bottom. I haven't decided if I'm going to leave it on the bottom or not. But I am going to come cut around the edges here. And I'm just going to, this is just fussy cutting, right? So I am going to come around this. I'm not worried about the rest because we're going to make it all happen, okay? So don't sweat the small stuff. It's going to all work out, okay? I'm just going to come around here. I'm just going to fussy cut around this set of flowers right here, this pot. It's a teapot, right? I don't know if I would take my teapots. Notice I knew I was never going to use it again because we got some really pretty teapots, teacups and all, and we've collected them. My daughter really likes them. We've collected them from Canada and some other areas. So everywhere I've gone, I've tried to sit there and get her a set of whatever if I can, right? So they're pretty cool. I've never put one where I'm going to do this, where I put the, planted something in a pot. Okay, so see how we're going to just put this up right here. Now, if you want this to be a little bit more flexible, then fine, just cut in more, right? So we're going to cut in more here. We're just cutting out just a little bit more. So what I'm doing here is by cutting in just a little bit more, I can sit there and flex my flowers, okay? So I'm going to come around the leaves too. Anything you want to flex, right? When I say flex is, we're either going to take a bone folder, you can take anything that's round, basically, right? And you can make it happen. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to take a bone folder here. And if I just take it and I curve, right? See, I can curve my flowers. I can curve flowers, I can curve leaves. It just depends on how much separation you want, right? Or how much you want it to sit there and do that. And I really like doing this, especially when I can give it to somebody and I know they're going to have it out and about, or they want it out and about, right? They can have it and it's going to have that whole look. So it's not anything I'm doing, right? I'm just taking what I have and working with it. So it's no different than if you did floral arrangement, right? You can, if you use the floral stuff that's got wires in it, you can sit there and shape it any way you want to, right? Because the wire lets you do that. Well, in this particular case, paper does give, and you can flex paper. I mean, we've literally taken paper and we've made our own frills to put on a birthday package or a purse that we designed or whatever with paper crafting, right? So you can do those things. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to take this. Hello, Sue. Thank you, Sue. So see how we can do this right here? So this also gives the depth as well. So while we sit there and think it's just by doing dimensionals all, we also give depth by just curling different things, right? That's going to give it a little bit more to it. Just you can do as much or as little as you want, right? Okay. So, and we'll add wing castella too, so don't worry about that. We always add wing castella, it seems like, because I like glitter, right? It's in a brush. All right, so we're going to put this up just like right here, okay? So I'm going to use the large dimensionals. This came with a small one, so we'll use the small ones too in a second. I just want to get the outer ones out first. So you see how it's going to build and grow, all right? So if you look at this, what we're doing, it's no different than what they did in the kit. I'm trying to get it exactly. I'm trying to get my... Because the reason I'm trying to get it exactly right, because it's going to mirror up with everything else as well too. So you see how I've got the flowers lifted and done like this. Let me show you what we did here so you can see what we got going. Yeah, see how they created our own 3D here? So we're doing the same thing, right? Okay, so we're going to add the other pots here, and we're going to do the same thing. Again, it just depends where you want to cut off at, because we can still put this down here. See how that's going to match the mirror up? And it's because I haven't changed anything, right? The only thing I've done is cut it out. So I'm just going to keep it there because it's going to look, it's the same image, right? So when you sit there and going to create depth like we're doing right now, you take a mirror image and you're just going to layer it over the top. Years ago, I did some stuff like this, similar with flowers to make, put in a frame. You know, if you got a wedding invitation or even a birthday, anything, right? And it has flowers in it. Literally took it and just did layers of it and put like a shellac on it to hold it there forever and ever. So you put it in a frame that was going to stand up. We're not going to put shellac or anything on this, but you know, it's just there's different ways we do things, right? And we take those skills and things that we've learned in one area and we just take it and roll it over into wherever else we're working on, right? So we can do things. You know, we were even looking at the other night when I was creating some stuff for tomorrow for our demonstrator event. You know, I had paper everywhere. Well, you know, I relate it to fabric, right? Because if I'm going to make something with fabric, I have fabric everywhere, deciding which fabric I want, what's going to look the best, and whatever, you know, whatever I want. So I do the same thing with paper, right? I take out, where like today, from working with this, then I would take this out, and I would look what color inks, what I want to go with it, other paper I might want to go with it, so forth and so on, right? Okay, so this is going to be our other anchor down here, and it's just going to go right here. It's just going to mirror it. The reason why you're going to mirror it, because that's what makes it all work, right? 'Cause if you don't mirror it, then it's going to look really funky. Especially since we got half vases, right? We don't have a full vase. We have a half of a vase because we cut off the other. So, because they layered them, right? So that's the one thing you got to watch out for. Now this one here is a little bit dicier than the other one, only because these are like really smaller flowers, right? So I'm just going to curve around just the same thing. So again, so that I can sit there and use the bone folder, or like I said, anything round. I've actually used I'm looking at my coloring pencil, my watercolor pencil here, and I've used it before. You know, for me, it's like whatever I have handy, right? Whatever is in my reach is usually what I grab. So I don't have to always just use a bone folder. Yeah. All right, so let's see. We got that there. All right. So again, like I said, it just depends how much you want. It's going to depend how much you do, right? The more you do, the more you have, but they'll still all work. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to curve my leaves. You know, if it's not enough and I want more, then fine, I can do more. But see how I can do it any way I want to? Alright, and I'm just going to put this on here with dimensionals just like I did this one. And then we're going to work on the other ones right here. So it's very easy to do. It's just a matter of what do you want, right? I'm going to put one right here. It's just a matter of whatever you want in making it happen. Okay, so let's get this on here. And I'm going to put it right there. Alright, so if you look at this versus what the original one we did, just to show you how it's progressing, here was the original one we did on Sunday, and this is what we got going on right now, right? Just because we're giving depth to it. This was just a flat piece that was lifted up, and this one's got layers on layers. So there you go. Now I'm just going to put this right in here. I was going to put it on, let's see how it looks with the small dimensionals. Now I always teach people in classes and all to say if you're not sure what you want to do, there's one of two ways. I don't mind putting, okay, the dimensionals up, but see here, so this will give you an idea. If I put the small dimensionals here, this is the height it's going to give me. So I really sort of want this lower, so I'm not going to be able to use that the way I thought I was going to use it, right? I'm just going to do it just like this right here. Now the only thing I'm going to do differently here that I didn't do here, but you can see because I cut and I didn't alter from it, right? It's just going to look like a 3D effect, right? But I am going to at least curl these. Hello, Susie. Your items, your gift should be arriving tomorrow, I believe, when I last checked it this morning. Whoop, whoop. Door prize winner. Oh, yeah. You're a winner every day, right? But today, or last week, you were a door prize winner, in addition to being a winner in general. Yeah. All right, so again, I'm just coming around here. Same thing, just because I'm going to lay this down, right? It's not going to be up like the other on dimensionals. It doesn't matter. I can still do this and give it a 3D effect look just like this right here. Okay? And we can come over here and do the same thing with these. These are like tinier flowers. I don't want to cut off the little, they look like little daisies. Okay. I'm just going to do that a little bit there. Get the little rough edges off. Right, I just thought I'd give it all a little curvy look. Right? Alright, and if we wanted to right there. So it's right, it's all personal choice. There's no right or wrong. There never is when we create, right? When we create, there is no right or wrong because it's your creation to do with what you want. What I'd like to do is just inspire you to try some different things. Okay? So all it is. Alright, so we're just going to take the same thing here. Now you have to be careful if you get them too thin, right? Because these are smaller flowers. And if I want to sit there and do anything else, I can. And I've been known later to come back and add a little something else or trim it a little bit else. Right? Because it's up, right? I can still do that. You can do that as much as you want, as long as you leave it flexible enough to do that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put, I'm just going to put this bottom part down, okay? We're going to leave the flowers alone on top. And that's what's going to allow us. So if it doesn't run for you, just run it across your hand. It'll work then. It always does. Alright. And I'm just going to tuck it in. Now I might just take this little piece off right there. Okay. And I'm just going to tuck it under here. And that's how it's going to line up. Alright, so everything's going to line up just like I did it. Alright. And it looks like I just have a bunch of pretty flowers in front of a window. And you can come, like I said, and bend them and do whatever you want, however you want. Right? So I would clip those maybe just a little bit more, but see how it looks like I've got a kitchen full of flowers. Yeah. So yes, So now I'm going to sit there. I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I'm going to stamp my sentiment right up here because I can, right? And I'm just going to put for you. Now we had 2 stamp sets this month. So if you didn't realize that, we have 2 stamp sets. One right here. This is always here for you, simply the best, for a great friend. The other one's got right here, for you, thank you, just a note. You know what, I'm going to do you are loved. You are loved. Right? You are loved. No matter if you are a friend, right? We love our friends. We love our family. It's not limited at all. All right, you are loved. Let me get this in here. I'm just going to put it across the window. And then we're just going to put this up on dimensionals, and we are done. You know what, let me just put it right up here in the window up here. There you go. All right, so we kept the color scheme. So we're just going to put this up with dimensionals, and then we also can put a little ribbon on here. Oops. Yeah. So actually, you see, swiping wasn't really that messy. In fact, if I have ink on there, it blends with my skin tone. So if you're like my daughter, who is like, her legs are so white, and she's so white. Okay, you might see the color, but mine is blending in, so yes. All right, and it's Friday, right? It's Friday, so that's always a good thing. So yes, I'm working on the project for tomorrow for demonstrators, and then I'm working on finishing up some things that we have for our mystery box, our Halloween mystery box, right? So I always make gifts. We call them pillow gifts, right? So I'm making finish up some pillow gifts. So right, you always make an example, but then you have to turn around and make it for everybody else, right? So I just work on tweaking it, right? I'm just tweaking my bow. All right, so we can put this bow anywhere. They didn't have a bow on this one, on the first one. All right, so we can put it here, which is nice. We can also put it up here. I'm gonna put it right up here because I want the attention for them to make sure not to miss you are loved. Right, let me see, I need a glue dot. This did not come with glue dots, this came with dimensional. So each kit comes with different things, right? This particular one came with the linen twine here, and it also came with, I'm looking around to see what else it came with. All right, do you feel loved? All right, there you go. Made something just for you. So that's what it's all about, right? It's all about creating, sharing, and giving. You know, right? That's why we make things. We make things to sit there and share with people and to create and so forth and all, and make a difference in someone else's life, right? I like receiving Happy Mail, and I know when I send people Happy Mail, they like the fact that they got Happy Mail. Somebody received Happy Mail from me a couple of days ago, and they go, I got my Happy Mail. So that's always exciting, right? So it's all about creating, sharing, and giving. So go out there and make something, and go out there and give it to someone, make their life. You might even give it to a stranger. It doesn't matter, right? It's just to bring a smile in somebody's life and to touch their life. That's all that matters, all right? So with that, have an amazing weekend. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to show you one more picture of this before we leave everything here. Let's go out there and see what you can do, right? It's going to hopefully 10 degrees cooler here. We'll see. They're forecasting it. Let's see that it doesn't change. That'd be really, really nice. But go out there and just see what you can do. Make a difference. And I want to thank you for supporting us, not only on here, on Facebook, but also on YouTube and Instagram. And just keep in mind, when you do make the post and everything else, comments, at the end of the month, right? So we just did this past Sunday. So the last Sunday of the month, we'll do another drawing. And we just take we just pick out everybody's names. Let's put emojis, comments, or whatever. And we just put them on the wheel of names and spin it, and that's how we get our winners. So it's that easy. With that, be blessed. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you next week, and I'll show you the photos of these real quick of what we've done, and so you can see it, right? So there we go. So here's the ones that were originally created last Sunday, straight from the kit, from the directions. Here's the one today that we made using the same materials, right? Except we just added ink and added some layers. So I hope you enjoyed that, right? And I look forward to seeing you next week when we do our next alternative. Be blessed. See you again soon. Bye.